Yeah, we'll go ahead and I think. Oh, receiving content. I'll tell you when. And we are on. Look at that. All right.
Good morning, Barron fans, and welcome to this broadcast of the Ben Davis Sports Talk Show here on BTV. I'm your host, Joe Snyder, and we're speaking once again with head coach of the DeKalb Barons football team, Pete Kempf. And, you know, this broadcast is made possible with the generosity from the following sponsors this year. We've had a great outcry, and I tell you what, the sponsors have just been wonderful this year, sponsoring us here on BTV. We've got Auburn Essential Services, DeKalb Health, Steel Dynamics Incorporated, Bowles Frozen Desserts, Schmidt Teas, Feller and Clark Funeral Homes, Gibson's Heating and Plumbing, FC Tucker, Malcolm and Schluter Realtors, Kelly Southern State Farm, Albright's One Stop Grocery and Supermarket, Jamel Flooring, the Ben Davis Auto Group, Brown & Brown Insurance, Classic City Body and Paint, Smith Farms Manor, Nixon Homes, Joyce Hefty Koval Insurance Agency, Credent Wealth Management, Betts Nursing Home, Beacon Credit Union, Metal Technologies, Mefford, Weber, and Blythe, Attorneys at Law, Nucor Building Systems, Vision Source, Indiana Physical Therapy, Auburn Dental Associates, Taylor Rental, Best Deal Auto Sales, Bernadette Salon, The Forget Me Not Boutique, Big Red Sports, Jeremiah's, DeKalb Chiropractic, and Drive Right Academy. And Coach, I got to tell you, this is really exciting era as the Barons start out this year with, once again, the Sports Talk here at Ben Davis Ford in Auburn off of Grandstaff. And, you know, we've done an awful lot here with BTV, and I'm really excited to be here today on this live stream and bringing this programming. And it's really exciting to see what's happening with the football team this year as well. We had a great showing last night at Angola. And, you know, anytime we get to week one, it is so exciting to see how what's happened on the offseason. And one of the things that we were measuring and seeing last night from the performance was we kind of gauge it based on, say, the last 2 or 3 years where, you know, if you sit back and take a look at our performances before, we had great performances, and we're talking about a top 12 team in Angola. Okay, this is a high-caliber team, and it really is a good thing to be able to start out with a high-caliber team early in the season. I mean, there's good and bad to it both. But one of the things it does is it really exposes what we do and what we're capable of. And one of the things is the big highlight I walked away with offensively, we were able to score 20 points last night in that 31-20 final, and that's the most that we've done here in the most recent, say, 3 years offensively. And defensively, we had a great effort out there against the Angola Hornets last night. You had to be excited about some of the great performances we saw.
Yeah, and we'll start with the BTV stuff. So what we've done, and we're just kind of getting into it. So last year I was very fortunate that I got to assume the role of Barron Television and the interactive media program kind of under my became my responsibility
Right.
at the school, and we've done a lot to get where we are today. So like all the equipment you see here is provided by myself, and the high school a little bit by Auburn Essential Services. And, you know, we did our first maiden voyage last night as kind of a
That's
last
right.
minute setup working with Auburn Essential Services at Angola. I know we had some technical difficulties, but we had a lot of student effort. I mean, everything that we're putting out here right now is student run, and we'll continue to do it, student run. And, we got a former student behind the camera. We got 2 students here, students in the classroom that are writing and shooting a lot of these scripts and advertisements that will replace your beautiful voice eventually.
That's right.
But so we have goals of wanting to bring as much live sports to Auburn Essential, or your community network on Auburn Essential Services. Coach Schweitzer, or Chris Schweitzer, has been awesome in supporting us. The school has been awesome supporting us, and it's just not about athletics. It's going to be everything we do for the band and the invitational, community stuff, community calendar. Our school announcements will also be delayed broadcast on Auburn Essential Services or on YCN, which you can watch online at the AES website. And we're updating all that back-end software. So there's a lot going on with what they're doing within that building to support us, so you can watch it on your iPad with all the HTML5 stuff. So we're doing so much in the back end to get up and running and doing a lot of great things. And I can't wait till we're the day that, by the end of that first semester in a few months, you and I are going to be obsolete.
Absolutely.
And these students are just going to be rocking and rolling. And we got a lot of good things going on, and we can't wait to get out in the community, especially towards the latter half of the semester, and get with a lot of local businesses and a lot of our local sponsors and start creating them student-led content and marketing and just celebrating everything that is DeKalb.
That's right.
And obviously, sports is kind of the start and point of it. However, that's not all DeKalb is. We're so much more with a lot of our excellent AP programs and a lot of our excellent our fine arts is an excellent set of programs, and we're relaunching the theater. We got a lot of great things going on, and a lot of reasons to celebrate, and a lot of great families and communities that support what we're doing, and excited to see where we could take that and build such an incredible environment. I guess that gets us from point A.
That's
so
right.
Now that that's on the back burner, point B, the game last night versus Angola. It was funny. I was watching the KPC News sports preview, and we talked about our motto this week was "Do your job," and everything that could have gone wrong on the way up went wrong. On the highway for an hour and a half, or stuck in traffic for 40 minutes. But our kids made the most of it. So I know on my bus they're playing like I don't know, the Proclaimers. Country, I think I heard John Denver karaoke like 4 times. Trying to keep the guys loose while they're stuck in a bus with very little airflow. And we're getting out, we're standing there, stretching and back in, and trying to work in shifts and keep ourselves mentally ready. And I think after our first series, it was kind of an MO we developed over the summer, is that we come out and we kind of feel out our opponents. We have yet to, whether it been like a Manchester camp or anywhere else, we can't feel out our opponents. Our execution level isn't good enough, and that gets back to execution.
Absolutely.
So offensively, I can't speak defensively yet because I haven't watched the game film, and maybe John or Tanner both can speak more about that than I can right now. Offensively, like first play, we don't follow our guard, or the second play we block on screens, we're wide open, we don't connect. The first pass play, our number 2 receiver runs the wrong route, and then when we're forced to take shots down the field, which isn't our strength, but we sustain. We were 1 block away.
Right.
A lot. Just it's so unbelievably frustrating as coaches, because you think to yourself, what could have we done differently this week or the prior weeks to make sure that we get flat on trap pull,
right,
or we're turning up tight on power, or that we're planning and cutting, or we're running outside and we're not getting that kick out and pull up. And you watch film and you see these alleys being created, and you're seeing like they're really good. Angola is very good, or we're not sustaining the down block, or we're over pursuing a player that's already out of the play, or we're tight ends arc releasing to the player he's not supposed to block. And those are little things that, because he goes to the wrong player, which isn't a horrible decision. So it's not a right or wrong decision. It's a block he needs to make, but that then messes up like the pulling guard who's looking to block that player. So that pulling guard's got to then rep, to turn up. And that's where, as an evolution, as a team across the board, we got to get to. And we've gotten a lot farther than we have. We're already better than we were a lot of the times last year.
Right.
But when you're going against a team like Angola, I think who was ranked like 7th or 8th, those are mistakes you can't consistently make, and we consistently made those singular mistakes down in, down out. And when you do that, you're not going to be able to sustain drives. You're not going to be able to, move the ball with enough consistency without having to take shots. Improving communication on the sideline for me and my receivers and quarterbacks. We had guys running open all night. We just didn't deliver where we needed to. Timing was a little off. So we just got to continue to rep and get better that way. And I know when I was able to watch defense, I saw, it's maybe a small blown coverage here, or a missed tackle here, or not downing down there. And those are the little things that build up over time, so that 2-yard gain or 1-yard gain turns into a 6-yard gain.
Right.
And there was a couple times where we missed that first tackle. But I will say this: our pursuit to the ball, this right now, is so much better than it was last year.
It really is.
So those 1 missed tackles, we want to make those tackles, but we had guys to the ball, guys downhill, making the groups tackle. So plays last year that would have gone for 6. We make them for 4, 5, 6. They would have gone for 12, 14, 15, or maybe scores.
and I think that was one of the things as far as a big takeaway that I saw last night. It seemed like overall that the group was they were much more experienced. One, I saw you could see where the experience from prior years really came into play, and the other thing that I saw was there was more of a speed to the ball, and there were a lot of tackles last night that were made that were touchdown stopping tackles. And one of the things, I mean, there was some really great plays last night that I was seeing around the defense and centered, and some things where you weren't really expecting or seeing somebody have a breakaway defensive play, and I was just so impressed by that. And our running game seems like it's so much more improved as well this year.
Well, I think it starts with the offensive line, and again, they're going to be more pride plays. And when you get home and the film's finally up, so I'm up watching at like 1 or 2 a.m., whatever it is, and my poor wife's like, "Turn off the screen." She's pregnant, 6 months pregnant.
Yeah.
She's the blue light's just blaring on her in the bed, but she's trooper. But you're there watching, and like a couple things I saw. So end of the half, Aiden Friedel. He took a bad angle. He was in a position he's not used to playing yet, and then he had to hustle down and make the tackle from behind. That's the difference between 7 and 3 points, and that's a pride play.
Right.
John's big run. Easton Rhodes got to a blocking point. He missed it, but he starts sprinting downfield, and Easton then is able to sprint, and a guy that might have made the play on John, he's able to get in front of him and back block him.
That's right.
So those are the little things that you don't see when you give up. You don't see those pride, and the energy in the sideline through the first half was great. We got a couple issues we got to figure out there and eliminate. And once we figure that out, we're moving.
Right.
We're not moving as fast as we need to, and we're not going to beat Garrett unless we improve our execution.
That's right.
So, again, we would talk about culture, we talk about brotherhood, and I'm so proud of we have such a great solid core group of guys that have bought into each other, that push each other, and that solid core has got to take us to that next level, and I think we're perfectly capable of it.
Well, and one of the things we saw last night, obviously, anytime you're in game one, week one, you're going to have a little bit of those jitters or trying to get comfortable in your own skin there in that first quarter. I'd have to say that when we ended up having a couple of the different scrimmages that we had prior to this, that you could see that developing and working and doing real good getting those scenarios. But when it's live game time, that's a whole nother scenario. And so once and I think part of what ends up happening too, whenever you have a distraction like you had on the highway going through traffic, that's going to be something that it can become very easy to be distracted and not. But everybody seemed to come right together there in the first quarter, and they just seemed to have a whole air of, hey, we've got this together. We're going to put a few things together, and then by the time we get to the second quarter, then all of a sudden things started getting really explosive. We started seeing some really big plays happening overall for the team.
Yeah, explosive plays are big for us, and we're not, with the way we're designed, we're not built for explosive plays down the field like we have been. But we're with a focus on sustaining the run game, controlling the clock, huddling, getting where we need to go. We will get better at that. However, we're kind of V-mix. I guess we're live. So because we're live, the volume is low. How about now? So if you guys don't know, we're live on the YouTube. We have about a couple dozen people watching. So
fantastic.
Which I'm pretty sure is a little less than, or a little more than people that listened to our radio show before.
But thanks for viewing and listening today.
Yeah.
We really appreciate it from
Coach
all of our
Getz
loyal
says
fans.
the volume is low. So if you have questions or you're watching, don't be afraid to type in the comments. If you have questions for the guys, we'll point them up there. I know you're more about them than you're about me. So right now we said the volume was low, so we turned it up. So if Coach Getz, if you're listening, you said you can't hear what we're saying, how about now?
Give us some feedback.
Give us some feedback, and we'll fix it on the fly.
That's right. Well, I tell you what, that's something that you've also you've brought some special guests with you here today on the program as well, Coach.
Absolutely.
And that's something that you want to go ahead and introduce us and let us know who you've brought with us.
Absolutely. So we always want to go through our seniors, and we bring two at a time. First one up, we have here directly on my left, number 91, Tanner Moore-Levy, in his signature look of man tank shorts and tennis shoes with the Levy hat that he wears exclusively. Defensive end, I think you'll be a 3-year starter now. He was shaving in 5th grade.
Yeah.
I asked him because we were talking about this. I said, we were like, he's basically a Cro-Magnon man reincarnate now. But so Tanner,
I'm right along there with you.
Yeah,
I'm liking it.
Yeah, Tanner's a 3. I'm at that awkward beard
Yeah.
stage now. I got the oil, try to keep it wrapped up.
I have been referred to that missing link, so it's just kind of, yeah. It's,
Well, Tanner's definitely an evolution of that. He's
Yeah.
an evolutionized Link. But, like I said, shaving in 5th grade with the awful mustache. Now it's a lot better. He keeps it trimmed. So without further ado, let's get it to number 91, 3-year starter, defensive end, Tanner Moore-Levy.
And as Coach said, that's number 91, Tanner, when the Moore-Levy breaks, is the way I like to refer to him, because last night, Tanner, I got to tell you what, that was an exciting moment. What was it like for you to be in Game 1 last night, knowing the season's starting and just getting ready to, you get through the scrimmages, you get through all the hard work in the offseason, all your prior years of experience, and here you are jumping out to this spot and getting that opportunity to play in a great action game against a high competitor in Angola?
I was really hoping, not really.
I mean, I got to tell you, the energy and excitement level for me, and in the booth last night too, we had Dan Bostic, and we ended up having Ryan Baker out there doing a great job, and everybody's getting excited watching the O line, watching the D line. Yeah,
I really wanted just to see how we would do. I was really expecting us to do great, and we did do some great things on defense and on offense. So.
Well, and when I sit back and look at it on your defensive line, I mean, when you were D line with the rest of the team, what kind of an environment is that? I mean, can you tell us a little bit about the teamwork and how hard you guys work together and how well you gel as a team?
Well, the one thing we got to do is we got to follow directions really well, and what they told us to do is we had to pinch like every single time, so we could stop the run. So. If we did that, then we did our jobs, and we just had to hope everybody else would do theirs, and we clean up what we could.
Well, a big part of it is tackling, of course, without question, and containing. And that's something you really have to hold that line. And last night there were several times that you and the D-line did exactly that and really contained that offense. And there was a really special play that I got really excited about last night in the second quarter. Can you tell me what your favorite thing is on D-line to end up doing? Is there one thing that you can end up doing that just brings the excitement to the game for you?
Well, if you get that sack.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, if you get that sack, that's some exciting stuff right there.
And I tell you, Dan and Ryan can both attest to how excited I got last night when that sack attack came out and you just busted out. And I tell you what, Gibson, I think by the time he got up, he says, "Was this Tuesday? What just happened to me?"
Yeah, I thought I rolled his ankle or something.
Well, one of the things that I'm wondering about is, when you're in that moment, and obviously you guys have design plays that you're doing, but at the same time you have to seek and find out that opportunity. What's it like in that moment when you make that great play and you hear the fans go crazy?
It's awesome. It was really special because it was third down, so I knew they were going to punt. As soon as I got that sack, I was just like, yes, we got it done. We got to stop.
Well, and I think one of the exciting things is, as Barron fan, we just love to watch and see you guys excel and do a great job at your position. We just do. We're huge fans. Now, I have to ask you about that. When you're in that moment and you end up having that, what types? I mean, is your adrenaline pumping? I mean, are you just as excited as
ever? I went crazy last night.
Yeah.
I ran off the field. I fell down, like I was going nuts, and I face planted almost.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's something that how many sacks do you have in your career at this point?
I think last season I had 4.
Right.
And then last night I had 2.
Oh, wow.
So that's 6.
That is fantastic. That's absolutely incredible. Now, do you have any kind of secret goals on how many you want to end up having, per game or throughout this season? Or
if I could get 2 per game every single game this year, that'd be nice.
Well, and I think we're gonna be ready watching, hoping that exactly happens for you. And that's something that when you look at all of these things that end up happening, how does it make you feel being a DeKalb Baron and making that key play for the whole team, knowing you stepped up in your position?
It's just special because if I do my job, then I'm helping out the team. And if I make a play like that, everybody gets hyped and everybody will end up playing better, hopefully.
Absolutely. Is there any way to really teach that kind of desire and that hunger that ends up happening during practices or during game time? Or
if the seniors step up and they're hyped like we were last night, then everybody usually follows.
Well, we've got a big competitor coming up this week, of course. We've got the big game at home. It's going to be our home opener this season, Game 2, against none other than the Garrett Railroaders. So is there another level or is there another gear that you end up finding with the personal pride of being a DeKalb Baron? What's that like for you?
I think Friday nights this week's going to be special. I think everybody's going to be a little extra.
Yeah, that's right. Well, and when you bring that little bit of extra, and that's something I think everybody recognizes and sees that we all want you guys to do good, and the same's true. I mean, in DeKalb County, we share DeKalb County with Garrett. It is, you know, on the gridiron, it's our job to go out there and do the best as far as game time. But we do put a shout out and wish them the best as well. We want everybody to be healthy out there and stay safe. But at the same time, we want all of us want to do our best job and put that level of competition out there. Now, as we do that. Is there, you know, I know there's not usually, say, special prep, but, you know, is there something that you guys do before games, any game, that you get together as a D-line and talk about, communicate? Is there anything that you guys do to pump yourselves up? What type of functions end up happening before the game to get ready?
Usually our coach, Jesse Garrett, our D-line coach, he usually has a little speech every single game for us to help us out. And then usually D-line, they get together, and we'll have ourselves a little talk, try to hype each other up a little bit. And that's about it.
I was looking at the D-line last night, and I thought for sure that each one of you ended up about eating a half a side of beef and maybe another 5 pounds of potatoes with a Diet Coke or something.
Jerry.
Because, yeah, it was
Jerry, big boy.
And that was something I think it's kind of interesting because in D-line there's really a lot of size this year. How does that work towards your advantage when you look about sizing up against other teams?
Well, I mean, last year we didn't have size like we do now, and other years before we haven't really had all that much size. So now, especially Jerry, being as big as he is, he usually takes up two guys. And that helps with linebackers and everything, so they're free to make a play. So being as big as we are, taking up as many blockers as we can, just helps everybody else.
Well, you know, and I'm sure you have a lot of fans and supporters as far as at home and around the community. Do you have any thoughts and shout-outs to any of those folks?
Shout out to my mom, my dad, Mary Jo, and pretty much just Barron family.
Fantastic. Well, you know, I got to ask you, too, is there anything I haven't asked you that you want to share with our audience before we turn to our next guest? Okay, well, I tell you what, we're gonna put a shout-out to you and the D-line, wishing you the best of luck coming up this Friday at DeKalb against Garrett, and that's something that, Tanner, I tell you what, it's such a pleasure to have you here. Once again, that's number 91, Tanner, when the Moore-Levy breaks. And coming up next, of course, we've got another special guest, and this is going to be Mr. John Bell. John, for whom the bell tolls, is going to be speaking with us. And, of course, John, can you share with us a little bit about your experience here on the team, you know, how many years you've played and the different positions you've played and you know, some of the actions that you've seen on both sides of the ball?
Well, this is my third year starting, and I play outside linebacker and running back. And what?
Yeah.
Oh.
Sneaking up behind you there, John.
Yeah. You know, just third year. It's been good to be able to play as a sophomore and a junior. You know, I feel like I've got more experience, and now it's just really pushing my teammates, trying to really get everyone in tune, so we can play really well.
Well, you know, with that and with those roles that you've had as far as on the team, what are some of the things that you enjoy most about the game? What gives you the most fun and most really pumps you up as far as different things that you can do, whether it's, you know, that block, that tackle, or that touchdown, or that big run? I mean, what is it that you like to do for the team?
I think defensively, making big plays. You know, if it's third down, we got to get a stop. Just making a big stop. I think that's really the most enjoyable thing. Football.
Well, I got to tell you, last night in the second quarter, there was something really big that ended up happening, and it started with that big stop, and I want to say that we were right there at the 39-yard line, and that defensive stop that ended up happening was pretty huge. What was it like in that moment?
I mean, just making sure I'm doing my job and just trying to make a play, really.
You know, and we were talking a little bit with Tanner about this too, and that's something that when you're in that moment, right after that all concludes, and you know you've done something to really help the Barons, how do you celebrate that? What's that like for you?
I mean, getting up and cheering with your teammates, I think that's the best feeling.
Well, and you know, that's the thing. You know, both you guys have had, you know, 3 years as starters. Is there a big key moment, or is there something that stands out to you? Play from last night, play from any other previous season, something that stands out to you that just says that's where I contributed as a Baron. Is there a moment like that you can look back at and say this makes me proud to do and be what I did for the team and for the community?
I'd say I think of my sophomore year when we played Belmont, and it was 14-7, and they threw it, and I I picked it off and I ran it back. I think that was an exciting play for me as a sophomore, and being able to do something big for the team.
That's right. You know, whenever you get that pick six, that's huge. And
Mm-hmm.
now, separate from that, is there any? I mean, was there any enjoyment, any excitement that you had whatsoever last night in a 61-yard run on a first play, on a first down, just to run it in for six?
It's exciting, you know. It
I was out of
just
my seat last night. How can you say it was just exciting? It was incredible.
What'd you say? Got a stiff arm.
That's right.
And then just had to keep on trucking.
Safety ran into his legs.
That's
I know you can't hear me, but broke the tackle. Safety ran into his legs, and he was gone after that.
that's right.
So it was awesome. It was awesome to watch.
And that's one of those things that boy, that had to have been so much fun. Now, what was it like when you heard the crowd and you saw the team over there and just everybody getting excited about that first touchdown of the year for the Barons?
It's awesome. It's a good feeling being able to do that.
Well, you know, and that's something that I know. I mean, your sophomore play, I remember that well as well for that pick six. But wow, last night, first touchdown of the season for the DeKalb Barons to kind of really christen it and get things going.
Yep.
That's a huge statement to end up making and shows a huge amount of leadership. And you know, when you talk about your team, you know, can you tell us about some of your other teammates that are really helping to foster that leadership aspect to really help bring the team together and to really kind of culture even the younger players and let them see what it's like to experience this and be part of the team?
Yeah, I mean, all of our seniors really, Kyle Dunham, Maiden Friedel, Eli Rum, we've all really been trying to create a good culture within our team, you know, staying after practice, like trying to hold people accountable, conditioning, running. We're really trying to make a big push this year so that everyone is like really focused and putting the team first.
Well, you know, and with both of your job, both your duties that you have as far as positions on the team this year, they're going to come in huge coming up in week 2 at home. It's the first. We're going to break open this can, and we're going to have a home opener against none other than the Garrett Railroaders.
Yep.
So, you know, what types of things are you know, goals and what kinds of things you think of when you think about such a great matchup and what it takes for us to come and be prepared and be ready for a game like this?
You know, I think really against Garrett, you know, we want to be able to run the ball solid. Defensively, whether they pass or run, I think, you know, if we just play solid, don't try and really go crazy or anything, you know, everyone's going to be hyped up. You know, it's a big game. Stay focused, and I think really we should be fine.
Well, and you know, you have a lot of experience not just in football, but also playing other sports as well. And you know what it's like when it comes to a great game like this and a great rivalry. You know, can you tell us a little bit about the level that people experience as players coming into a game before that, and really, I guess what's the spirit of it like? What's that feel like coming into that, and what kind of sportsmanship is displayed during those moments?
I mean, any sport really. If it's like a big game, you know, everyone's all pumped up and going crazy. But you know, I think you really gotta kind of try and see through that a little bit. You know, keep your head, focus on the things you're gonna do, and especially if it's a big game, you know, everyone's gonna be crazy. You don't want to be being a bad sport, I guess, against the other team. You know, keep a level head and just play the game, really.
Well, you know, both you and Tanner have great leadership roles on this team. And when I sit back and think about it, I know I've seen you guys make great plays and do so many wonderful things for the DeKalb Barons in the past with your careers. So one of the things I wonder about is what kind of a legacy, is there a legacy out there that you want to leave as a leader to the underclassmen to really kind of exemplify what it means to be a Baron?
You know, I think as a senior, we really want to, our senior group this year, we really want to, the impact we want to make is that we want, like our underclassmen, we really want them to be able to know what it's like to be a leader and be able to like show the younger groups, like not just in sports, like how to act as a man and just how to play the game well and just, you know, be a good person and yeah.
Well, those are great qualities, and that's an incredible legacy to leave to your fellow underclassmen and teammates to help to carry on and really carry that torch for the Barons in the future. You know, one of the things I have to ask you too, John, is there anything that I haven't asked you today that you want to share with our fans to let them know about you?
I don't know anything specifically about me, but you know, just the fans come out and support us at Garrett. Hopefully, it'll be a good game.
Fantastic. Any final thoughts and shout-outs to your supporters?
Shout out to my parents and my brother Bruce and my sister Elizabeth.
Fantastic. Well, I'm gonna echo that, the shout out, and wish you the best of luck coming up in Game 2 this Friday at home against Garrett. Now we're going to turn it right back to Coach, and it's a good time for us to start focusing in on really that Garrett game and what's that game plan going to look like. And Coach, this is something that preparation means so much, and we've seen some great efforts coming out of the postseason and coming into this, and even at those scrimmages. And I got to ask you, when you sit back and take a look at this, there's an awful lot that has to happen in a week for preparation. I mean, you're going to be taking a look at film. You're going to be looking at ours. You're going to be looking at theirs. You're going to end up trying to make adjustments. What are some of the things that you're going to be doing this week to get prepared for this game?
What we're going to do first is we're actually going to answer some questions.
Oh, fantastic! Even better.
Because Rick Getz is he's popping us up here, and my wife said hi to me. Thank you, Barron Television appreciates it. So first off, Coach Getz, middle school liaison coach, he asked if Angola's speed surprised us. I think the answer is no. We knew they were quick. We knew they were fast. We knew they were aggressive. I think their offensive speed didn't surprise us as much as their defensive speed, especially from a couple of their players we identified as we wanted to try to take advantage of. They did a good job. Inside line, one of the inside linebackers was really good. Honer. The other one was better than we thought. We took a couple shots at the corner we wanted to take a shot at. Just didn't kind of time up real well. Speed, no. They have a good senior group, and it shows. So, we on defense, we did exactly what we wanted to do. Their best player, I think their best player in the program is the Schneff kid. He's a running back.
Incredible athlete.
He's tough, man. He is really, really tough. And game plan starts building around how do you take away their best player, then how do you take away the next best, and then you run through the series. So we actually got the looks we expected and we wanted. Their slots, we didn't get off blocks well enough. We weren't down. We didn't get proper angles at time. But, we did what we had to do to be successful, and we just got out executed in a couple situations.
When you think about that, as far as some of the athletes, we saw some great plays last night from the Angola Hornets in McCurdy and in Gibson.
Yeah,
but
McCurdy's a good ball player.
And we were making great plays on them defensively, and that was something I think that was one of the things that was great about that is we were seeing that environment where the guys were adjusting, learning, and when they adjusted, make that adjustment, they were making the huge plays and really stopping them. I think in a lot of ways, I think it shocked and surprised them on their offense how much we were bringing.
Yeah, I think so too. I think we were a lot more physical than they anticipated, and that needs to be our MO.
Absolutely.
There was no question of effort, no question of physicality. We played hard, but you could play hard. We've built our way to this.
That's right.
And, focusing next week, I think Coach Guest asked about the focus of next week. It's very simple. It's execution. We're going to hammer it for everything from receiver alignments to execution and pocket timing to sprint blocking. We're not big in – I'm not a big guy in believing in adding 9,000 things. I mean, we run I think last night, John, we ran 4 different running plays, really. And we ran, 5 different passing plays. So we do it out of multiple sets and formations, and I think we're still kind of adjusting – kind of our thought process. It used to be like we would line up in 1 or 2 formations and we'd run, 30 different plays. And, we're flipping that script back to where I believe offensively we should be. And that is we're running our simple plays that we're going to run and we're going to execute. And I think that's why our execution's better. Right. But we're just 1 block away. Right. Or 1 read away or, so we just got to get there. And so the focus of next week, and I think for us for the near future, is all about execution. I'm very happy. I thought we were in good shape. We had a couple guys that cramped up, and the thing about that is that falls on their diet. Right. That falls on their, obviously you're going to get cramping, but we only had 2 players cramp, and that's the thing. That falls on your diet. I mean, Colin Gold was a great example. As he was a sophomore and junior, he'd cramp every game. Yep. And we'd have to give him the apple cider vinegar. He'd have to do the things. Now, he changed his diet senior year. Right. He's on the field the entire dadgum time.
Yes, he was.
Didn't cramp, I think maybe once or twice. He changed his diet. He changed the way he took in fluids. Coach College worked with him on a plan to make sure that, we have a lot of guys that, we don't promote like, creatine or additives and all that stuff.
Right.
But some guys do it, and we try to keep communication open about what's going on in their body, and being safe.
Right.
But sometimes they take advantage of it and they don't do it in a healthy manner, and that's anywhere you go. And so we're just trying to talk about nutrition. And when we go to a lot of college programs like Eastern Michigan, they have a full-time strength conditioning guy, they have a full-time nutrition guy, and that's a MAC level school. And you see a lot of the high schools are starting to get that now.
That's right.
And we've started talks with a couple local entities about bringing in some type of nutritional focus. But as a high school program, you got to depend on donated time,
Yes.
donated effort, and that's hard.
Yes, it is.
And volunteer coaches that show up, they donuts look good, man.
Yeah.
Squirrel. It's hard. It takes a while, and when you have 70 dudes on a team, or once we do it, then maybe somebody else in the athletic program wants to do it, and that's what you want. You want one or two services that cover the entirety of athletics, and I take great pride that we help push a lot of athletics in a lot of positive ways, and we gotta continue to do so. Back to your question, which was what?
Yes. Well, when I sit back and take a look at it, you're really doing a good job of explaining all the different things that are kind of coming together. But my big question was, what types of things are we going to focus on in our you're talking about execution, and one of the things we want to do as far as executing coming up for this game against Garrett, are there some certain things, specific things that you're going to focus in and hone in on to be prepared for game 2 this week?
We'll try some different packages. We had 3 packages last week of different types of athletes that we can put on the field, because we are deep for who we are, and we have a lot of individuals, a lot of different talents. So we need to find what that best package is for us. And Tanner Jack's a great ball player. We got to figure out more ways to try to get him the ball in his hands, not just from the tailback position, but maybe from other positions. We have to figure out how to sustain blocking up front. Who do we need to attack? And we got to focus on us to make sure that we're not putting ourselves in bad situations. And really, when teams get good, it starts with that inner core group of guys. It starts with coaches pushing execution, and that's going to be the focus this week. As coaches of position groups, that's exactly going to be our focus. It's going to be, you have to execute. If you don't execute, we have to have the next guy up. If you don't execute, we're going to find the next guy up. And we are deep enough. We have deep enough sophomore through senior that we have a lot of guys that are going to need to figure out what they're doing. And if they don't, we got to find the next guy up. And when you have a good program, a solid program, a deep program, that's great, because they're pushing each other in a healthy manner, and we're there, and we got to change. We're changing that culture, and we're going to continue to build it.
Well, some things that we saw last night, and I'm going to focus on special teams a little bit here in our kicking game. One of the things that I was very impressed with last night was Evan Snyder. We ended up having incredible kicking last year, and when you graduate somebody, it's an incredible kicker, and then you have some. Yeah, that's the thing, is when somebody has to step into that position, because field position was so critical to us last year, and so much more critical to us this year. Evan did a great job executing.
Yeah, Evan obviously came from we have a lot of guys that play soccer from because middle school soccer and football are separate seasons. So we have not a lot, but we have a handful of guys that will, I was the same kind of guy. I started soccer at 5 and I played up through 7th grade. Or you start at 5 or 10 and you play up through 8th grade. And because soccer and football are separate seasons, a lot of those guys like Evan, there's always 4 or 5 different guys that have to make a decision which sport they want to pursue in high school. And we were lucky enough that Evan decided to play football. Obviously we get a whole great family with that. And, Evan's mom is the president of Boosters, and she's working very hard. And so he stepped in. Alec, you graduated an all-state punter.
Yes, he did.
He's been punting for 3 years, and Evan, he's a sophomore. He's kind of that same boat, and he's getting better, and it's exciting to have him in the fold, and excited to see what he can do in the future all over the place.
Well, I really get excited too about that, because correct me if I'm wrong, I believe he's a sophomore.
Yes, sir.
And doing doing a job like he did last night as a sophomore and showing that level of experience was just exciting for me to see.
And the snaps are a big part of that
yes,
too.
It is.
Eli Rum did a heck of a job, short snap,
Absolutely.
long snap, and you got Emerson Deach, who's never played a football down in his life. He's one of the few guys that were lucky enough. The soccer team and the coaches, Coach Bennett, Coach Bigelow, Coach Friels, all those guys, working. We were very lucky lucky that they supported Emerson, and and they don't have to, and we don't. It's a luxury for us that they're willing to work with us and support us as much as hope we can support them. And having him come to a game and kick, and his first kick was not where he needed to go, and we try to keep him safe and have him running off the field after he kicks and do things like that. But Emerson did a good job. He's got a big boot. I'm excited what he can do. But when we talk about special teams and execution, personal fouls killed us.
Yes, it did.
We didn't turn the ball over on offense, and we created. I think we stopped them 2 seconds shorts, and they fumbled the ball, and we get a personal foul.
Yes. And that just hurt us as far as field position.
And so it just kills us. It was 5 personal fouls, man, and they weren't like flagrant. And one of them, I'll give Dom that frickin' Dom leveled their quarterback, and it was within a step, and that was a bogus call. But we had 2 personal fouls on one player, and one of them was just passive dumb.
Right.
Another one, we're the guys shoving back, and that's not smart football.
Yeah.
And you wonder where that comes from, because that's not something we've done.
Right.
Ever. And it's going to be fixed.
And it's concentrating on that focus.
And if it's not going to be fixed, we're going to fix them, or they're not going to find themselves in the field.
Right.
Because that killed us.
Yeah.
Turnovers kill us. We miss the field goal, and they go down and score a field goal. That's a 6-point turn.
That's right.
We don't get that punt. They score a touchdown. That's that's another 14-point turn.
That's right.
And when you lose a game, when you're down 30-7, a 14-point turn.
That's huge. Massive difference.
And
Massive difference in that gap.
Those mistakes destroy your opportunities at winning.
That's right.
When you don't turn the ball over, when you turn the ball over on defense, and you do things you don't need to do, or you do the things you need to do, and then you blow it because you make silly mistakes.
Right.
Not acceptable.
Right. And have to basically stay in that groove with the rest of the team, realizing that your actions are going to impact not just you, but the entire team and the effort.
Correct.
Yep,
and those were selfish mistakes.
Right.
Unacceptable.
Well, and one of the things I want to sit back, I want to refocus a little bit on what we ended up having offensively with our touchdown kings. Now, of course, and then our touchdown kings, of course, last night we ended up starting it out with none other than John Bell that we've had here on the show, and so just a great way to open up that can and start things out for the whole season. But right after that, we ended up having an incredible connection between Dunham and Deller for, I believe, 29 yards, getting us to the 14-point mark.
Yep.
And Deller, I tell you what, I'm just so impressed by his tenacity, no matter what sport it is, to go out there and perform. And he was really in the zone on that play.
Mm-hmm. I think Deller does a lot of good things very well. What Deller has to know is he's got another level.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he's got another level, and if he decides to hit it, he's going to be a really good one. But it's not just him. We got to get everybody to another level. But he's a big one. I know it's maybe I don't watch him a little bit in baseball, but there's another level of execution. There's another level of speed inside that body and mind of his. And if he hits it, he's going to be one unbelievable ball player.
Well, somebody that went to school by the fourth quarter and watched that second quarter unfold and came out and said, oh, yeah, I saw what John Bell did.
Yeah.
And Tanner Jack says, I can do something there too. Pulls out a 24-yard touchdown and just goes right into the end zone. And his play throughout the entire game was at a great level. He was consistently performing everywhere in his duties.
Yeah, as a returner, he can continue to evolve as a returner.
Yes.
He's too fast, and he's got to be able to trust the holes and learning how to return still. He's from where he was, as a freshman last year, and running all over the place because like a human joystick, and he was that much faster than the other 8th graders, 7th graders, 9th graders. But when you get on the game on varsity field, guess what? There's always going to be somebody else that's going to be there, and those cutback lanes aren't going to be there. But you saw it on the first power.
That's right.
And there were power, and then he ran. I think that's what he scored on, like 40 yards or so.
Yeah.
And you saw him. He ran his correct track.
Yes.
And
ran smart.
They did. And 2 years ago, he wouldn't have done that. He would have tried to bounce it back. But because he got north and south, that's why he scored.
That's right.
And so he's learned, his vision's improved, and he's got a huge upside still. And I'm excited to see what he can continue to evolve to on a Friday night.
I am too. And, one of the things that happens is it's really fun because one of the things that you know how this goes: experience, ability, athletic ability.
Mm-hmm.
These things come together with the right mind, the right soundness. And one of the things we do is after we get a touchdown, we have to go ahead and get those extra points.
Yep. And
that's where I turn to Kai. You can count on me, Coach Zacharias, stepping in and completing those plays.
Mm-hmm. Kai is very consistent extra points.
Yes.
We got to get better. We got to be 100% on those.
And
we're almost there. We're almost there. And Obviously he's a sophomore, but and we're going to start seeing. I think we'll see him a little more at receiver this week too. We're going to have some competition out there because the guys aren't executing like they should. So Kai's going to get into that fold, and I'm excited to see what he can bring. And he repped a lot of corner this off season, and he was in the depth mix of that chart. And I don't know if he will be or not moving forward, but he's going to be in that fold at wide receiver. And obviously he's one of our 2 good kickers, and he'll continue to kick extra points down and down out, and hopefully he'll kick a lot more this season.
Well, and when we sit back and take a look again, we're going to refocus now, going back forward to the Garrett competition. What do you expect out of them offensively and defensively and in this season?
I haven't watched the film yet. I
Okay.
know LaFollette's a good quarterback. They graduated so much, it's a tough question to answer.
Absolutely.
I know that they beat Prairie Heights last night. That doesn't tell us much. They scrimmaged Columbia City. That'll tell us more. So once we get into the film and see what they're capable of doing and not doing, I'll be able to answer that question a little bit better. But it's a rivalry game, so it doesn't really matter.
Right.
Even though I think they beat Prairie Heights by 3 touchdowns, that doesn't matter because the way they approach Prairie Heights is definitely not the way they're going to approach us in Auburn. So, and what I've learned over the last 4 years here is that whatever it is, they hate us.
Right.
I never played Garrett in high school. I wasn't part of that. I didn't grow up understanding that. But the level of absolute blind hatred that comes out of that community towards us is something that we don't understand.
Right.
We'll never understand it. So what we have to do as a team is we have to kind of understand that, and that we know that we can't match that hate, but we can match that hate with love within our program for each other. And that is so much more powerful than anything they could bring to us, whether it's burning a Baron or doing whatever they do,
right,
or lynching them, like I did a couple of years ago. So we'll kind of focus that on as a team, and we'll use that to our advantage, and we'll have some fun doing it.
Absolutely. When I sit back and take a look at it, we're surrounded by great coaches this year. You've done a great job with your staff once again in this season, and at the same time, the community continues to support us. We had a sea of black and red out there at Angola last night in some terrible potential weather. Excited to see what happens with this team following through. Yeah. What can you say about our supporters?
The student section was awesome.
It was.
They did the whiteout and an away game, and when we haven't had a 500 record over since 2007 or 2006, wherever it may be, we're fighting that, and we're growing, continuing to grow from the depths of where we were. And we've come a long way, but it's still not far enough. And so, but part of that is student section support, and they were awesome. And that's come a long way too. And I'm excited to see what they continue to bring and grow. And we're just kind of continue to grow that culture and make it important to us.
Are there anything that I haven't asked you so far that you want to end up sharing with our folks here today and let them know about what we're doing this year and how you want to see this progress?
Thanks, Dean, for the positive comment. But as far as it's kind of the same thing. It's just the students support each other. And that's where we're getting, and we're continuing to grow. And I think the senior class can create something fun for all sports, and I'm excited. Not just athletics, but also like when the band invitational comes up, or you go into when Coach Friels puts on a theater show, going out and supporting that, or guys watching our BTV live stream.
That's right.
24 people watching, but I'm excited because people are going to come back and realize, hey, they could watch this whenever they want.
That's right.
So John's parents are going to cut up highlights of John.
That's right.
Tanner's same thing for Tanner. And
well, just his parents, I think I'm going to be doing that too.
I know, just the beard. But I guess as far as shout-outs, we've been going 45 minutes now. I know my wife said hello, my girls. Oh, Tanner wants to know if the donuts are part of the meal plan.
Yes, they are.
They are part of the meal plan.
They're
we do get donuts.
They are a required part of the meal plan on Saturday Coaches Show mornings. That's anytime you're on the Ben Davis Sports Talk, we want to thank John Moore for bringing those.
John Moore has been around. John Moore provides us donuts, and Ben Davis here at our Sports Talk, and bringing back Sports Talk after all this time. So if you remember, years and years ago, Bernie and Greg Vick.
That's right.
They had a Sports Talk show, and guess what? We're back, baby.
We're back. We are back in action.
With all 20 people watching. But you know what?
This is the start.
This is the start.
And we want to thank all of our folks listening again this morning, and all the folks who are going to watch this on replay in the future as well. This is something that we're so excited to bring you this on Barron TV, and I'm so excited to be part of this, Coach. And that's something that it means so much to me to be able to carry on the legacy of what Bernie ended up starting.
Yep.
He was a good friend. He was so strong in the community, and to know that we're bringing this back to the students, doing it the right way, and really supporting our community here at DeKalb. everything's going the right way.
Yeah, and I think, like I said, we'll try to keep this under 45 minutes in
Absolutely.
the future. We went 50 today, but I tell you what, it was great. Ben Pomeroy, thank you for the comment. I guess, even though we're live, it's kind of like a live stream. It's not really a radio show, so we can do what we want.
We can do what we want. We can do what we want.
So, Michael McDonald, thank you. Thank you for the good luck. And last question of the evening before we get the sign out here is, Tanner, Coach, guess what's know where your sandals are?
He says
sandals. He doesn't have sandals.
He doesn't have sandals.
Real quick, Dan Bostic in the background, thanks for being here and set up. We got this done. We came in last second notice, spreading it out there. It's going to be on, for right now, it's going to be on YouTube. In the future, we might move this show to the YCN, but we'll be able to find it, so come check us out. I'll post the link. You can find Barron Television on Facebook. We have a page. We're on the Twitters. Because obviously I'm the one kind of pushing it. I kind of get late and behind during football season. We got, just start spreading the word. We're doing a lot of amazing things. I'm so proud of so many different guys and gals that are making this possible, and I'm just very thankful to have this opportunity to push DeKalb athletics, DeKalb High School, DeKalb Central School District, and the community in this medium. And once I figure out what we're actually doing, a year ago I had never done any of this, so
right.
A year later we're now live on television.
That's right.
Who knew?
Who knew?
And
right.
We're also next week, I think we're going to try to be on 106.7.
That's correct.
We've partnered with 106.7 Thunder Country.
That's correct.
In the old Froggy building. So we are going to be a regional broadcast live on YCN and also live on 106.7 for the Garrett game. We hear the voice of Joe and Baker, and we're doing big things.
We are doing big things.
Big things. Big things one step at a time, but big things nonetheless.
Well, and that's something that really, when I sit back and take a look at it as well, I am just so amazed by everything that we're doing and bringing this back and making this happen. And I'm even more excited about all the things, all the promise that we saw from last night in the team, and really looking forward to this matchup coming up at home. This is whenever we come home and start our season out from home, the home opener always has another level of energy, and we start seeing that crowd come back. We see the alumni in there with the support, and I'm really looking forward to that crowd out there on Friday night.
Me too.
Any other thoughts and shout-outs that you have, Coach?
Anybody else? You guys want to speak? They're both ready, like, man, I've been here an hour.
That's right.
I've only got one donut. This is ridiculous. But I think let's sign her out.
Well, I tell you what, I want to have one more shout-out, and I want to thank once again Dan Bostic for being on our film crew last night on our debut, our debut broadcast last night on BTV, as well as the incredible Ryan Baker. We can always count on you. You've done so much to help the program, and we appreciate it in a big way.
Before we do that, I always forget. I didn't want to forget it because I did. I want to apologize. On the way up to Angola yesterday, I did not text my wife.
Oh, no.
There was a traffic jam. I'm sorry. I love you. Tell the girls I love them. Hopefully they could see me. They're like live on. This is kind of like television on the iPad, I hope. But Rowan and Charlotte and PK7 right on his way, and blessed to have them all in my life and blessed to continue to have them every day.
Fantastic. And, of course, folks from Barron TV, I hope to see you on Monday as well as we continue on with our education in that program. And, as always, Barron fans, we want to thank you for listening to today's broadcast of none other than the Ben Davis Sports Talk Show here on BTV with myself, Joe Snyder, the host. And we want to thank all of our sponsors for the generosity of bringing this program to our viewers. Of course, our sponsors this year, Auburn Essential Services, DeKalb Health, Steel Dynamics Incorporated, Bowles Frozen Desserts, Schmidt Teas, Feller and Clark Funeral Homes, Gibson's Heating and Plumbing, FC Tucker, Malcolm and Schluter Realtors, Kelly Southern State Farm, Albright's One Stop Grocery and Supermarket, Jamel Flooring, the Ben Davis Auto Group, Brown & Brown Insurance, Classic City Body and Paint, Smith Farms Manor, Nixon Homes, Joyce Hefty Koval Insurance Agency, Credent Wealth Management, Betts Nursing Homes, Beacon Credit Union, Metal Technologies, Mefford Weber and Blythe Attorneys at Law, Nucor Building Systems, Vision Source, Indiana Physical Therapy, Auburn Dental Associates, Taylor Rental, Best Deal Auto Sales, Bernadette's Salon, The Forget Me Not Boutique, Big Red Sports, Jeremiah's, DeKalb Chiropractic, and Drive Right Academy. Folks, make sure to tune in next week when we bring you another edition of the Ben Davis Sports Talk here on BTV.
I got to figure out how to stop this. You see? So we're still live.